Hello, I'm Tamsin from Firespiral, and today I'm going to show you a really nice little craft project that you can make using our 30cm wrap squares. So first of all, I'm going to show you the finished piece. So what we're making today is some coasters. A couple here that I've made already, and these are from our below birch trees. These are simple little squares. As you can see, I've done a little bit of quilting to bring out the pattern, and on this one here I've got one side of the wrap colour on one side and the other on the other. So for today's project I'm going to use some Kokiri Mercury birch tree scraps or fabric squares. We have these in stock at the moment. So I've got two, this one and the other, and we sell these at £4 each, including shipping to the UK. And I'm also going to use some very thin quilting wadding. I'm going to be using my overlocker and my sewing machine, but you can do it all by hand or you can do it all with a standard sewing machine. Just carry on watching to find out what to do. So these are what we're going to be making today. These four padded quilted drinks mats, and they're a good size for a drink or a mug. I'll show you. So we're looking at a size of about 4.5 inches or 11 centimetres squared. There we go. So as you can see from these, I've done a little reverse on one and not the other. So to make my coasters, I'm going to use 2 wrap fabric squares. We sell them in the Firespiral shop. We call them 30cm squares, although in a lot of cases they're actually bigger, which I think this one looks like it is 30 one way by, let's have a look, 35 the other way. So it's 30cm by half wrap width. So I'm going to use 2 of these, and I'm going to use Kokiri Mercury birch trees. So I like to make these coasters about 11 centimetres squared. So I'm going to cut my squares a bit bigger than that because we need to factor in the seam allowance. So I'm going to cut them at, let's say, 13, which is 13 centimetres, just over 5 inches. And I like to use a roller cutter and a metal ruler for that. You don't have to be absolutely precise with these. They look nice, a little bit rustic. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. So I'm going to have a dark front and a light back on each, I think. That's the way I'd like to style these. And so the tops are the dark ones and the bottoms are the light ones, but actually I might mix them around as well. I'll see how I'm feeling whilst I'm doing it. So look at that beautiful pattern, bit of fern there. So once I've cut all of these, I need to cut my wadding. So I've got some quilting wadding here, and once again I'm going to cut squares. I'm going to cut 4 squares this time, and I'm actually going to make them marginally smaller. So rather than a 13 centimetre square, I'm going to make a 12 centimetre square, because then they'll just fit inside the shape of the coaster and not get too much in the hems. So I'm going to, this is sliding off the table, I'm going to get a pattern weight just to weigh that down with. So now I've got my 8 bottoms and 8 tops. I'm going to start assembling them, and I'm going to use some of this stuff, which is absolutely my favourite stuff ever for sewing. I only discovered it a couple of years ago. I think it's called quilting tape. It's double-sided sticky tape, and it just holds things in place. It's brilliant if you're inserting zips and things like that, but I'm going to do it because I want to make sure that I'm putting these in the right place. So I'm going to choose that to be my main face. So I'm just going to just pop a little bit of that on there. Peel the facing off. There we go. And then I'll place that in the middle, and that will just simply help me remember which side was which, hold it in place. It doesn't come off that easily. It will if I pull it. So I've decided to go for a mainly green back on that one. So I'm going to pair that up with that one and just move them to the side. And I'll keep doing that. And here they all are, ready to go over to my overlocker for the next stage. So I've moved over to my overlocker now, and I've got a little stack here of all the pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a side just to overlock, and that'll be the side that I leave open for turning. So I'm going to get this one here, and I'm just going to overlock this bottom edge. And that's just along the edge, just to make it easier when I turn. And I'm going to do the bottom edge of the other side as well. And then once I've done that, I'm going to put them right sides together, so the right side of this piece is that side, that's the wrong side there, and the right side is this side here. Put the right sides together, and I'm going to go all the way around the edges. And edge number 3. And then so I've got my bottom edge there, and I'm just going to go a little tiny bit along here, and a little tiny bit along this side, a few stitches, which then leaves me hopefully a big enough hole here. So I'm going to grab some scissors, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip these corners off, being careful not to snip in the way stitching. And then I can find my bottom corner, and if I've got a big enough hole, I turn it all the right way in, like this. And for this one, all I need to do now is to poke those corners out nicely, and then I'll go around and I'll top stitch around to close that gap and to make it nice and tidy. So I'll just do the other ones now. So I'm going to use this chopstick to give the corners a good poke through. Make them as square as possible. And then I'm going to iron it or press it. So press. It's not perfect, but the design is a bit wild and free as well, so it kind of goes along with it. And I'll just turn that bit of overlocked edge in and press that as well. And then I'll go and do the same with all the others. So at my sewing machine now, and I'm going to top stitch and quilt these. So I'm going to pick this as the top, and just however close to the edge you fancy, I'm going to do a few reverse stitches and then go carefully along here, just making sure I've tucked the overlocking in there. Pivot at the corner. What I like to do with these is I like to do a little bit of quilting and just to define some of the shapes. So I pick a side. So I'm going to pick this one here because it's got some nice lines going on, and I'm just going to start there and just loosely follow the lines of the pattern. And I go back down this side. I tend to stop at the top stitching. And come back up along this bit here. And there we go. Here are a set of 4 lovely coasters, and the light in this room here really picks up the sort of peaks and troughs of the quilting. And just so you can see for scale, there we go, that's a drink. So really happy with these. I would keep them for myself, but they're actually going to be a gift for one of our Loyalty Club prize winners this month. So there you go, 4 lovely coasters. Thanks for watching.